You know, we got a lot of folks out there that are suffering and going through trials and tribulations. And we talk about police brutality. We have to understand the difference between police brutality and a brutal act by a particular police officer. When you say police brutality, what you're doing is you're inciting a nation of individuals out there to go and act in a very belligerent and, dare I say, criminal fashion against law enforcement officials. And where do you think that's going to get them?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gimme 5. Leave it to Stephen A. Smith to tell it like it is in Howard Cosell fashion. He was talking about, of course, what went on and is going on in Baltimore, more particularly what went on a couple of nights ago with the rioting and the looting and the burning and the pillaging, and he had a lot more to say.
Violence is not the answer. And then when you get into the rioters, the looters, those engaging in vandalism, the part that I find incredibly disgusting is how anybody out there could sit there and support those kind of actions. Our president, Barack Obama, stated it best: they should be treated like criminals. You are victimizing and vandalizing your own community. The very people that you're sitting there and claiming to be in unison with in terms of being victims, not having your needs, your desires addressed or what have you, are the very people you're looting and vandalizing and all of that other stuff. It's irresponsible, it's criminal, it's unnecessary, it's wrong, and that needs to be said.
And it's being said by Stephen A. Smith and many others to their credit. Of course, there are those on the radical left, the rabble-rousers, the race baiters, who, I don't condone it, but, and then they list a laundry list of reasons why the riots took place. Here's more from Stephen A.
We certainly have some problems within the African-American community, but one of the biggest problems we have is that we're not looking inward. We're busy looking outside at everybody else, what everyone else has done to us, what history has done to us, how it has affected us, etc., etc. But guess what? I'm here to tell you something. I haven't heard this said, Skip, on the airwaves. Our ancestors, considering our history and what they had to go through and the sacrifices that they had to make to get us to this point, our ancestors will be ashamed.
That's right.
Of how we're conducting ourselves.
That's fair.
And it needs to be said, and it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be stopped.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. That is very well said, and only he could say it. I can't say it and have it mean anything. I can't say it without being accused of, who are you to speak for black people or black people's ancestors. But Stephen A. could say it. I love Stephen A. I used to be on his TV show when he had his TV show many years ago, all the time. It was a great kick. He was nice to my son. I used to bring my son all the time to when we recorded the show. Great guy. Really is a great guy, and a one-of-a-kind, very unique, which is why he signed that multi-million-dollar deal most recently. And here's more.
If you continue to conduct yourself this way, and more importantly, if you pick up the phone, go on Twitter or social media or whatever, and condone this type of behavior. Yeah. That's hooliganism. That is criminal activity going on, and it is against our own community. There are elder black folks who are suffering at the hands of these looters, vandalizers, etc. Law enforcement is going to deal with them.
All right. By the way, yes, it was obviously against black business owners, the black community, but I know he doesn't mean this. But I'm afraid some would interpret it as, well, if they did it to a rich white community, then you could understand it. Now, I don't think Stephen A. would ever say that. But I bet there are plenty of people who are saying just what Stephen A. is saying. But if it were directed at a rich white community, might say, well, what do you expect? Here's one more.
If you are seen stealing, and there's a whole bunch of black people there, and they're running away and they're stealing or whatever. Now, those are the actions of a few. But the problem is it taints all of these law-abiding citizens that are here. They look at, society looks at all of us, and they say, is that how you're acting? Is that what you are about? Is that what you care about? And then we tend to generalize, and it gets so many more than those select few in trouble.
Yep, he's absolutely right. So, what can I say? Heed what Stephen A. Smith is saying. And parents, teach your kids not to run from the police. What could I tell you?